If you've been following the startup landscape lately, you've seen the pitch. Just describe what you want and AI builds it for you. No developers, no agencies, no six-figure budgets. Just you, a prompt, and a fully working app in under an hour. My name is Andrea, and I'm a CEO at Calda, an award-winning app development agency. And lately, we've noticed a pattern on app development market. A founder vibe codes their app, and at first, the cost seems incredibly low. They build the app in a couple of days, ship it, and launch it. And then, in a few weeks, the bills start to come in ways they never expected. Today, we're going to explore what the true price of vibe coding your app actually is. Not the marketing version, the real version. First of all, let's ask ourselves, what even is vibe coding? Vibe coding is the practice of building software by describing what you want in plain English, while AI handles the actual development. Instead of writing code yourself, you just send a request. Like, build me a login screen, or add a payment flow, fix this bug, and the AI writes the code. You can go from an idea to a fully working app in days, not months, without a full engineering team behind you. And for testing a concept, validating demand, building a small internal tool, it's hard to argue against it. But here's where most people stop reading the fine print. The biggest selling point of vibe coding is the low starting price. And yes, compared to hiring a developer, the initial investment is very low. But starting cost and total cost are completely different conversations. Let's walk through what actually shows up on your bill. The first, not so hidden cost of vibe coding your app are usage tokens. Most vibe coding tools don't charge you a flat monthly fee. They use what's called a usage-based pricing model. Every time you ask the AI to generate code, fix a bug, or run a test, you're spending credits. But here's the problem most non-technical people have when vibe coding their apps. You don't know the structure of the code, so your prompt requests are most likely very consuming. For example, a single request for a complex feature can burn through your entire month's worth of credits in just a few hours. Some users have been hit with surprise bills of over $300 in a single day just from asking for a small improvement to their project. That usually comes from people's inability to understand the underlying code structure, leading to inefficient prompting and high token usage. The second biggest and most important hidden cost which comes with vibe coding is the debugging loop. This is a trap that many non-technical people can fall for very easily. It catches almost everyone off guard. AI almost never delivers a perfect product on the first try. Mostly because people don't know how to instruct it to create a perfect product in the first place, but also because it's not designed to develop full products at once. Just by failing to understand your app's user flows, you're bound to make a UX mistake. And on top of that, AI is most likely to produce a code with bugs in it. All of that results in a bug-littered app. So what happens is you ask for a feature. The AI produces imperfect code with bugs, and then you spend more credits asking it to fix bugs than building new features. And then it makes another mistake, and you pay again. This cycle has a name, the debugging loop. And it's one of the most expensive traps in vibe coding. In fact, a 2025 study found that 45% of developers said debugging AI-generated code actually takes longer than writing it from scratch. This means that if you end up bringing in a senior engineer to untangle your AI-generated code, you might find yourself paying a premium rate to clean up what a $20 tool created. The third important cost, which is also the easiest to predict and understand, is the environment cost. Your app was built with a vibe coding tool, which costs you a monthly subscription. But once your app is built, the expenses don't stop. You still need to power the application so that the world can use it. That means hosting fees, database fees, third-party services fees, Apple developer account fees. In 2026, the reality of building a web or a mobile app is that it most likely depends on cloud infrastructure, which is almost always an additional cost that you need to calculate. The good thing about architecture costs is that they are really predictable and really easy to understand. They won't surprise you if you do your research. So, we covered three main direct cost types which come with vibe coding your app. But this next one is the one most people fail to understand. Now, here's where the conversation gets serious. Because cost isn't just about your monthly bill. It's also about what happens when things go wrong. Vibe coding prioritizes speed over structure, which means that the code it generates often looks right, but isn't built to scale. The database underneath is frequently what engineers call fragile. It works for you today with your current amount of data, but it's not designed for anything more than that. And security? This is where the real financial exposure lives. In 2025, a US-based company building their software with vibe coding experienced what's now a well-known cautionary story. So what happened is that an AI agent ignored explicit instructions to not touch the critical code and deleted the company's entire production database of over 1,200 records. In the same year, for example, a women-only dating app, T, had multiple separate data breaches in just 2 months. They failed to secure their database and left 72,000 sensitive images, including user passports and driver's licenses, publicly accessible. Unfortunately, these aren't just isolated cases anymore. They're patterns, and they happen because AI is trained to solve the specific task you give it. It's not trained to stop and ask, what could go wrong here? That's a human question, and it requires human judgment. So, before you jump into developing your app with any of these vibe coding tools, make sure you understand the opportunity costs that might come with it. Okay, so what's the final number? What does it actually cost you to vibe code your app? Here's the honest answer. It depends on how far you take it. If you're building a simple MVP to test your idea, vibe coding is generally the most affordable way to start it. It was never easier and cheaper to develop a working piece of software than it is right now. But the moment your app involves real users, real payments, or any sensitive data, the cost structure changes entirely. The savings on development get offset by technical debt, by security holes, by the cost of trying to scale something that wasn't designed to scale in the first place. All in all, vibe coding isn't a scam or a trap. It's actually one of the most influential advancements to happen to early stage founders in decades. The problem isn't the tool or the technology. The problem is mistaking a starting point for a finish line. Because every cost we talked about today, the token spikes, the debugging loops, the security gaps, none of them show up on day one. They show up later, when you can least afford to stop and fix the foundation. And by that point, the affordable option has usually become the expensive one. But as long as you understand what the limits of vibe-coded app are, you are on the safe side. And if this video helped you think about things differently, the like button is right there. See you in the next one.